up.
Hi everyone, my name is Ikoimoto. How are you doing? We are going to create a mode for teacups handle today. It's basically the same procedure as how we did with teapots handle a while ago. But anyway, let me demonstrate it one more time. Right, first, make sure the model has absorbed enough of water. If you keep it under the water for 15 to 20 minutes, that will do. Then apply some soft soap throughout the model. Okay, the typical mode for the handle should look like this. These are the holes to pour the slip in and out. And as you can see, the bottom of the holes are set on the joint surface of the handle. Unless the design of the handle is too complicated, the mold will be made of two side parts and one top part. Right, we start with the side parts. First, we put a thin layer of buff clay on the flat board with thick surface. And make it roughly at the same shape as the model of the handle. And then put the model on it. Like this. Now, in order to split the model into two sections without having undercut, it's better to set the center of the handle parallel to the flat board. Right, this looks good to me. And also, we need to keep the clay underneath the model for what we are going to do next. And now, we are going to use this right angle ruler and this marker pen to determine the split line. Let's start with the outer surface of the handle. We just leave some ink on the edge of the ruler. Like this. And set it right next to the model, so the edge of the ruler will be touching the surface of the model. And if we move it along, little by little, the edge of the ruler will be always touching the highest point of the model. Now, do the same thing to the inner surface of the handle. Okay, we now have got these lines to split. So let's fill some buff clay up to the lines. And regarding the joint side of the handle, which is where I will be creating the top part of the mold later on, the surfaces of the joint parts are not even. So instead of using a partition board, we just use this buff clay to create a wall, which could go with the shape of the joint parts of the handle. masking tape, and plaster. Right, this is what we've got now. Let's just briefly tidy up the surface. Create some keys. Soft soap. A wall. Masking tape. And plaster. Okay, one more part to be done. Let's just put an elastic band on so that the model won't come apart yet. And then make this surface nice and clean. And create some keys. And apply some soft soap throughout. Now, this is the diagram of the mold from the side look. As you can see, the mouth to pour the slip in and out needs to be created wider towards the top surface, but this is actually a tricky task. The handle itself is smaller than the one we did for a teapot a while ago. Besides, creating these shapes with buff clay and stick them onto the surfaces with a bit of angle is not easy. So what I'm gonna do is just set this thin pillar of buff clay on the center of each joint surface of the handle and pour the plaster before it gets too creamy so that its pressure won't knock them down. Now, let's take this elastic band off very carefully so that we won't knock them down. And then surround this with partition boards. Masking tape. and gently pour the plaster in. As I mentioned earlier, we carve these mouth holes into right shape very carefully. Right, today's mission has been completed. Thank you very much for watching everybody, and I will see you at the next one. Bye bye!